Hey, I want to bring in our panel, Robert Charles, former Assistant Secretary of State to Colin Powell. He's currently president of the Charles Group. Bruce Klingner, former CIA Deputy Division Chief for Korea, currently Heritage Foundation Senior Research Fellow. Tammy Bruce, Fox News political contributor, also Independent Women's Voice president, and she's a Washington Times columnist. Tammy, I'll start with you. Forgetting about the overall interpretation of the media, of the meeting by the media, because you can close your eyes and pick the headline and match it with the media outlet. Watching this last night, from the coordinated entrance and a handshake to the body language, I felt great. I really did. I felt like it was historic. I know this is the very beginning of a long journey, but it really, as an American, it made me very optimistic.
It's because what we've seen for the last couple generations is a refusal to deal with this issue, ranging from his grandfather to his father to him. And we've seen this problem progress. We've also seen how we've been taken advantage of. When you've got an administration that is not serious, like the Clinton administration, that's not willing to ask for more things like investigations and access to places. You just want, a promise. That's my concern here. Of course, we know that they've signed the paper saying, oh, we commit to this, but they're liars. We know they lie. The benefit of Donald Trump is, already over the last year and now, is that he has shown our allies and our enemies that he says what he means, and he means what he says. He's going to act on his attitude. He's going to act on his promises. This will be helpful. Also, the economic situation that has been brought on by his stronger sanctions, which always could have been done, simply were not done. And his attitude toward, of course, Syria, right, Iran, and everywhere else. So we've got a president finally that's being taken seriously. I trust him because I know he's not going to do what others have done. He's right, not going to get a bad deal for the sake of it. It'll be no deal or the best deal.
And yet, Robert Charles, the media is saying that President Trump has already been, quote, hoodwinked. The canceling the military the exercise and some of the other overtures being made to North Korea were unnecessary, that he blinked, and that in the first round, Kim Jong-un won.
Now, you need to have historical perspective here. For one thing, we have gone through periods of suspending. The particular exercise they're talking about was originally called Team Spirit. It's now called Full Eagle. Actually, they renamed it recently again. But the bottom line is we canceled it in 94, 95, 96 in order to see if diplomacy had a shot. The thing that your prior panelist, Tammy, said is absolutely right. We're in a unique moment right now. This president has empowered Kim Jong-un to be a transformative leader, the way Reagan empowered Gorbachev to be a transformative leader. And the next steps are critical. There is a lot of hard work ahead. There'll be a letter of intent. There'll be a framework agreement. There'll be a tick-tock of action items and kind of a collateral commitments being upheld. But the bottom line is this is a great day for America and for all the world. I mean, if you go back a year ago, everybody would have thought this impossible. And so what Donald Trump did is he created a win-win out of something that's been a lose-lose for 70 years.
Yeah, and of course, last November with that last missile launch, it really felt like we were on the precipice of something ugly. Bruce, speaking of the world, let's zero in because you know Korea very well. One of the more intriguing articles I saw was in the New Yorker, which it was filled with backhands at President Trump, but it did admit, the author said, I've yet to meet a single Korean who isn't willing to express optimism in some form about the prospects for peace and reunification. That's South Korea bubbling with optimism about what happened last night.
Right. In South Korea, there was really a sea change in opinion after the Panmunjom Declaration, the inter-Korean declaration. In that, you had South Korean public opinion went from about 17% who believed engaging with North Korea would work to sort of like 80% or 70% after that inter-Korean summit. So right now there's, in a way, a bit of irrational exuberance in South Korea that engaging with North Korea is going to be different this time. But, as we're moving forward with both the inter-Korean relations as well as the U.S.-North Korea, we're going to want to add some meat to the bones of the agreement. A lot of work needs to be done on fleshing out the details, and particularly something that seems pretty simple, but even the definitions. North Korea has a very different definition of what denuclearization is, even a different definition of what the Korean Peninsula is. They would include the U.S. strategic bombers in Guam as part of the Korean Peninsula because it influences or impacts that. So we need to work out those very strong differences.
Well, we do have a pretty good first step, I think. Thank you all very, very much. Really appreciate it, folks. Now, when we come back, I want to take a